Police rescue abducted victim in Zamfara mosque attack. Daurawa steps down as Kanu Hisba commander. Delta State government confirms water pollution in community. On the foreign scene, 11 hospitalized after London apartment fire. Thank you for joining us on the news update on Trust TV. I'm Sagir Ibrahim. Well, many thanks for joining us once again. Now, the news in full. In a dramatic turn of events, the Nigerian police force has successfully liberated one of the 3 kidnapped victims from the clutches of the abductors in Zamfara state. Now, according to a statement by ASP Yazid Abubakar, the police public relations officer for the Zamfara State Command, on February 29, 2024, a group of unidentified armed assailants suspected to be armed bandits wielding sophisticated weaponry clandestinely infiltrated a Jumat mosque on the Hospital Road of Tafi local government area in Zamfara state. Their sinister motive to orchestrate a spree of abductions continues. However, amidst the chaos, the worshippers valiantly evaded capture, leaving behind only 3 vulnerable elderly individuals who were swiftly whisked away to an undisclosed location by the assailants. The swift and decisive response mobilized quick response teams, launched a relentless search and rescue operation. The efforts led them deep into terrains bordering the Dangejeru forest, where the suspected armed bandits had sought refuge. The teams forced the bandits to relinquish one of the captives who had fallen behind and could not match their swift pace. The rescued victims, upon receiving necessary medical attention, was joyously returned with the family. Also, travelers along the busy Kaduna-Abuja highway were stranded on Thursday morning following a protest by residents of Gonigora under Kakao ward of Chikun local government area of Kaduna State over the killing of 2 local vigilantes and the abduction of several residents by the suspected bandits in the area. The angry protesters, including women and youth who stopped travelers plying the highway for hours, were dispersed by a combined team of security agents. Trust TV Bello Musa, who was at the scene, completes the story.
The protesting residents were angered by the killing of 2 people by bandits when they invaded about 10 houses at Ungwara Outer in Goningora of Chukun local government area in Kaduna State.
We just came yesterday, it's going back today. They kill anyone who just here. They kill us here. We just want to
The Kaduna State Overseeing Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs Samuel Arwan said security agencies rescued some of the abducted residents from the hands of the bandits.
In the early hours of today, we have an incident at Angon Outer axis of Gonungora, where a number of citizens were kidnapped, and we also have an unfortunate situation where a citizen was also shot dead instantly at that location.
Although some of the residents alleged that there was no prompt response from security agencies during the attack, Arwan, however, said this was not the situation.
Immediately we received the information, troops moved to the location, and that is how they came in contact with the bandits. And that is how they were able to also rescue some of those that were taken. And as we speak, I said troops supported by other security personnel or operatives are trailing them. You know, and violence cannot solve this problem. Coming to the road to block the road cannot solve this problem. But we are conscious of what is happening, and we are doing our very best as far as issue of fighting against banditry and terrorism is concerned.
Attempts by Trust TV to talk to the relatives of the victims was not successful due to tension in the area. Bello Musa, Trust TV News Kaduna.
And tragedy struck the Federal University of Technology Owerri community as a student lost his life and several others sustained injuries in a distressing incident linked to cult activities. The unsettling event unfolded on a somber Friday morning when a group of students from Imo State University reportedly infiltrated the Futo campus via motorcycle convoy, igniting a clash between the two groups. Amidst the confrontation, the Futo man of war commander suffered a fatal stab wound to the neck inflicted by one of the IMSU students, tragically leading to his immediate demise. The profound loss and the injuries inflicted have plunged the university community into mourning and disbelief, underscoring the urgent need for collective efforts to address and prevent such senseless acts of violence. And Sheikh Aminu Ibrahim Daurawa, the Commander General of the Kano Hisbah Board, has tendered his resignation from his position. Announcing his decision via a brief video shared on his official Facebook page on Friday, Daurawa's resignation came swiftly after Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf expressed reservations about the operational strategies employed by Hisbah in combating acts deemed immoral within the state. Governor Yusuf, in a meeting with ulama at the government house, voiced concerns about Hisbah's approach, particularly its practice of conducting raids in public spaces under the guise of apprehending individuals involved in prostitution, which he deemed as uncivilized. Additionally, Governor Yusuf emphasized the necessity for Hisbah to reconsider its methods of apprehending suspects, urging the board to undertake a thorough review to rectify societal wrongs. Responding to the governor's remarks, Daurawa defended Hisbah's actions under his leadership, highlighting the board's efforts to address immorality, particularly instigated by social media influencers in alignment with Islamic principles. Despite maintaining the righteousness of Hisbah's endeavors, Daurawa expressed his decision to resign from his role, extending well wishes to Governor Yusuf and his administration. And the former Group Managing Director, First Bank Holdings, Urum Eke, has rejected his nomination as a member of the Board of Directors of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Eke, an executive director of the First Bank, was one of 5 others nominated and screened as CBN directors by the Senate Committee on Banking, headed by Senator Adetokunbo Abiru. Here's the report.
Presenting the report for the confirmation of appointments of other nominees, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions, Senator Adetokunbo Abiru, said all of them demonstrated comprehensive grasp of economic policies, adding that there was no petition against any of them.
Confirm the nomination of all the underlisted as members of the Board of Directors for the Central Bank, as members of the Board of Directors of Central Bank.
Explaining Eke's absence during the screening, Senator Oji Uzokalu told his colleagues that the nominee had informed him that taking the job would be in conflict with his current engagements. He explained further that the nominee is currently a consultant to the World Bank and other global business entities, hence his reason to decline the appointment.
He informed the governor of Central Bank that he might be declined not to do the job. So this is the reason it did not come.
After Kalu's explanation, the Senate during Thursday's plenary went ahead to confirm the appointment of 4 others as directors on the CBN board by voice vote, with the Deputy President of the Senate, Barrow Jibrin, presiding over the session.
Will the Senate approve the nomination of Mr. Robert Agbede for appointment as a member of the Board of Directors of the Central Bank of Nigeria? Those in favor, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Mr. Ado Yakubu Wanka for appointment as a member of the Board of Directors of the Central Bank of Nigeria? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
President Bola Tinubu had on February 15, 2024, asked the Senate to screen and confirm Urum Eke and 4 others as directors of the Board of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Meanwhile, a bill seeking to establish the National Assembly Budget and Research Office has scaled second reading on the floor of the Senate. The legislation, which provides the National Assembly with objective, timely and non-partisan analysis for economic and budget decisions, was sponsored by the Deputy President of the Senate, Barrow Jibrin. In the debate, the lawmakers argued that the bill, which has suffered rejection in previous assemblies over the last 20 years, remains critical in strengthening legislative efficiency and ensuring that budgets passed by the executive are thoroughly scrutinized.
To really answer the name
a National Assembly that is empowered, because there is more power in terms of approvals for expenditures in the National Assembly than probably any other power.
Mr. President, this bill is not targeted at confronting or challenging the executive on their budget proposal or budget estimates, but it serves as an independent office.
The bill, however, did not get a smooth passage, as Senator Adams Oshomole warned against the establishment of any agency when the federal government is trying to merge some existing ones. He said the bill will create additional financial burden on the federal government, especially at a time the country is experiencing economic hardship.
Have some agencies in order to reduce the cost of governance. Why the executive is doing that, regardless of what anybody will say, for us to rise from these chambers to say that we have created another new institution, I think on the face of it, we will be seen as expanding where the executive is reducing.
But despite his appeal, the bill was passed and forwarded to the Senate Committee on Appropriations to report back in 4 weeks. In his concluding remarks, Deputy President of the Senate expressed hope that the President would give assent to the bill when eventually passed in the interest of democracy.
So that will help the country, and every member of the National Assembly can go in there and have whatever anybody wants in terms of data, in terms of statistics, in terms of information, or anybody. So it is a very important office, and we need to put that in place here in order to go with international best practice.
If eventually passed, the bill is expected to run concurrently with the Budget Office of the Executive. Until the Lower Legislative House of the National Assembly, the House of Representatives has urged President Bola Tinubu to comprehensively review the 2012 Onosanye report and others which seek to reform the public sector in line with the current realities. At Thursday's plenary, the House also listed other reports to be reviewed, to include the Goniaji report, which reviewed the Onosanye report, the white paper released by President Jonathan administration, the Amapepo white paper, and the Ibele Okeke white paper. Here's the report.
To urge the executive arm of government to develop and implement policies that will repose the agricultural, solid minerals and informal sectors, which will serve as alternatives to those that may be laid off consequentially, while at the same time spurring economic growth. The resolution was passed equal to the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance sponsored by Representative Kama Nkem Kama.
Essentially reduce the cost of governance as it does not reflect the current situation in the public service of the Federation.
In another development, the House of Representatives has urged the Joint Admission Matriculation Board, JAMB, to extend the registration exercise for 2 weeks to enable more candidates to register for the 2024 UTME. The resolution was passed equal to the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance sponsored by Representative Bello Shinkafi.
Also worried, without extension of the registration, many candidates will not be able to register and participate in the exercise.
The House also mandated relevant committee on education and legislative compliance to enforce strict compliance. During Thursday's plenary, the Green Chamber also urged the Federal Ministries of Education and Health to collaborate and develop a mandatory drug testing program for secondary school students in Nigeria. This followed a motion sponsored by Representative Moshood Oshun titled "The Need to Introduce Mandatory Drug Testing for Secondary School Students in Nigeria."
And it's aimed at deterring drug use and identifying students who need help with staying drug-free.
They also urged the National Orientation Agency and the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency to increase awareness about substance abuse among secondary school students nationwide. In the meantime, the House of Representatives, Joint Committees on Special Duties and Public Assets have asked all federal government agencies to suspend concession processes until its ongoing investigation is concluded. The chairman of the committee, Ademori Kuye, gave the directive during the inaugural investigative hearing held at the National Assembly complex in Abuja. Declaring the investigative hearing open, Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, who was represented by his deputy Benjamin Kalu, stated that the exercise will mark a crucial milestone in the history of the 10th House, adding that the objective is to meticulously dissect the triumphs, challenges and overall impact of public-private partnerships and concession agreements on public infrastructure and services. Some of the agencies that honored invitations were Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission, ICRC, Nigerian Electricity Management Services Agency, NEMSA, among others.
Public-private partnership operates within the framework of integrity and to ensure that we deliver on the mandate of this joint committee. Nobody is going to harass you, nobody is going to intimidate you, nobody is going to make you afraid of delivering what is the truth.
It will be recalled that Representative Said Abdullahi had on February 27, 2024, moved a motion of national public importance and the need to investigate all concession processes by agencies of government in the country.
And the Delta State government has acknowledged the concerning discoloration of the river in Ukunzu community situated in the Aniocha North local government area of the state. After receiving reports from the community, a sample of the affected water has been collected and sent to the laboratory for comprehensive testing. This alteration has not only impacted the visual appeal but has also caused vegetation in the vicinity to wither and dry up, while speculation initially pointed towards coal mining activities conducted by Mosra Energy Limited as the likely culprit. The company has vehemently denied any involvement. Instead, they attribute the river's discoloration to the laterite employed by NewMap for erosion control efforts 3 years prior. Addressing the concerns raised by the community, the State Commissioner for Environment, Mr. Jamani Ejiro, assured residents during a statement in Asaba, the state capital, that thorough water and effluent analysis are underway. The aim is to pinpoint the exact cause behind the alarming coloration of the river in Ukunzu. Ejiro emphasized the significance of this investigation, especially in light of the petitions from Ukunzu indigents implicating Mosra Energy Limited in the pollution saga. The government remains committed to uncovering the truth and ensuring the well-being of all affected residents and the environment. You're watching the news update on Trust TV. Coming up shortly, we take a look at the impact of scavenging on livelihoods and employment in Kano State. This is, of course, more news after the break. Join us again. Thanks for staying with the news update on Trust TV. Now, a recap of our top stories again. Police rescue abducted victim in Zamfara mosque attack. And Orawa steps down as Kanu Hisba commander. Moving on to more stories now. The erratic power supply in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, has become increasingly unbearable for residents, particularly those relying on cooling appliances like fans and air conditioners. Supply shortages result in these essential appliances being turned off for extended periods, exacerbating discomfort, especially during the current heat wave, with temperatures soaring above 35 degrees Celsius in the nation's capital. Ibrahim Ismail has more.
As Thursday afternoon temperatures in Abuja soared beyond 35 degrees Celsius, the unforgiving heat wave spared no one. However, what exacerbates the situation further is the inability of residents to utilize cooling fans and air conditioners, all due to the erratic power supply plaguing the city.
Now we're looking at this weather, there's no light, you have newborn babies, you have mothers with children. How do they cope at night? For those who don't have generating set, for those who even when they do have the generating set, they don't have money to buy fuel. Because are you going to think of fueling or food to put on the table for your children to eat? So it's been very difficult, but that's just reality.
There's no stable light, and coupled with the heat, in fact, I and my family, we are unable to cope with it. Okay, and because of the poor supply of electricity, to get a fuel is not even easy. As you can see, I came to get a supplement. I couldn't get chilled one. I have to be served with a hot drink because the light is not there. Okay, and the tariff, the worst aspect of it is that the tariff is even increasing every day.
The erratic power supply in the Federal Capital Territory is a source of concern for all residents. As the fasting period for the holy month of Ramadan approaches, Muslim faithful express apprehension that if the issue is not properly addressed, it will exacerbate hardships for families. This underscores the significant humanitarian ramifications stemming from the unreliable electricity services in the country.
Fasting is fast approach. Without light, we cannot cope up with this hot weather. So please and please, in this hot weather now, around everywhere you go now, the weather is very harsh. It's not friendly at all, at all. So for that, in that case, we are pleading to the authority to help us to make a constant power supply for us.
One can cook when there is electricity, but without it, one cannot cook food to break the fast or even get cold water. It will be difficult. Meanwhile, the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company has attributed the ongoing power outage in the city to a fault affecting the supply feeder and a recent attack by vandals on transmission lines. However, residents are urging the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, Nyesom Wike, to intervene and address the persistent issue of erratic power supply, which continues to take a toll on the residents. Ibrahim Ismail, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Thank you very much, Ibrahim, for that report. And we now circle back to Kano, where scavenging, once considered an informal trade primarily for the less privileged individuals, particularly in northern Nigeria, has undergone a significant transformation. Today, it has emerged as a lucrative business opportunity for youth across the region. On this special report, Trust TV correspondent Idris Jibrin delves into the impact of scavenging on the livelihoods and employment in the state. Take a look.
Despite outward appearances, these young men are not mentally affected individuals. They are resilient scavengers navigating the harsh economic realities of Nigeria by engaging in these vital means of survival.
I have been scavenging right from childhood, and it is the only trade I knew. Believe me, over the years, scavenging has paid off, and we are surviving with it.
Scavenging demands minimal capital to begin, involving collectors who scour refuse for valuable items, buyers who purchase these refuse, and segments within the community that function both as collectors and recyclers. Over time, some individuals transition into recyclers, playing a vital role in the supply chain by providing raw materials to rubber and metal companies. Jamila Ahmad, a rubber recycler based in Kano, runs his operation from the Dakata small-scale industrial cluster. According to him, amidst the prevalent economic conditions, the recycling industry in Nigeria is fulfilling over 50% of the industrial demands for raw materials.
You see, by the nature of our business, it's small, but we are making significant contribution for the survival of rubber industries in Nigeria, because as at today, we do supply over 50% of rubber industrial raw materials, despite the disturbing challenges.
The sustainability of this industry faces significant challenges, such as inadequate capital, unreliable electricity supply, and scarcity of raw materials.
Unfortunately, we have lots of problems that need to be addressed. The issue of electricity, capital, and raw materials are major issues threatening the sustainability of our business.
Despite these obstacles, the sector has become a crucial source of employment for hundreds of youth, contributing to the upliftment of thousands from poverty. Both scavenging and small-scale rubber recycling are experiencing rapid growth. Financial institutions are stepping up to provide loans to recyclers, instilling hope of a brighter future within the industry. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
And two stories on the international scene. A significant fire erupted at a residential building in London's upscale South Kensington neighborhood during the early hours of Friday, resulting in 11 individuals being hospitalized and approximately 130 evacuated, according to fire officials. Firefighters from 15 fire engines and around 100 personnel rushed to the scene at Emperor's Gate, a terraced house converted into apartments near the Natural History Museum in southwest London. Upon arrival, half of the ground floor of the five-story building was already engulfed in flames, with the fire spreading rapidly to the upper floor and roof. Station Commander Steve Collins, overseeing operations at the scene, stated that crews are working tirelessly to contain the blaze and prevent it from spreading to adjacent buildings. And that wraps up the news update at this hour. Do well to follow us across all of our social platforms and join our live stream on YouTube for more news programs and documentaries. I'm Sakir Ibrahim. Thanks for watching.